Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend, and we are here. We're all gathered, as we do every Monday, for a fun trip report to start the week. How bad can a Monday be if we have a great Walt Disney World trip report to get things started? We're heading out to Virginia today with listener Joe, and this is a special trip. Let me just tell you, he asked, she said yes. That kind of summarizes this whole trip, but we talk about the planning of a trip where you're going to propose, where it happened, and in a very unique classic Disney attraction, the little touches that Joe took to make this a very special proposal, and then how the rest of the trip unfolded. We talk about trips to all 4 theme parks, a stay at Caribbean Beach, a nice stay over at Coronado Springs, traveling in early December of 2020, and all the fun that he had. It's a great trip report, so enjoy. I think you're going to really get your week started the right way with this one. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd really appreciate it if you'd book your next trip with the Magic for Less. Check them out. Give them a try for that next trip. They are professional, passionate travel agents who are going to always find you the best deal out there, and it costs you nothing extra, and it's a great way to support the show. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. When you shop online, there's a free way to support the Be Our Guest podcast. Just one extra click. Just use beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Everything's the same from there. Also, a huge thank you to our patrons. You're allowing us to put out 4 shows a week, plus a live show every Sunday night, the BOGP Open Line. And it's because of support from our patrons. If you'd like some information on becoming a patron yourself, and you'll get Mike in the Midwest every Thursday, just visit patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 1869 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. First full weekend where we got the extra hour of daylight. So, and I know here in the Midwest, the weather kind of churned. We had pretty miserable weather most of the week. And then this past weekend, it turned out to be a little sunny, a little bit warmer. Got that extra hour to have some fun outside. So hope you got to do the same thing. And, we're back here. It's time for another work week, but let's get it rolling with a great trip report. Let's head down to Walt Disney World. We've got a great one in store for you. So we're headed out to the East Coast. We're heading out to Virginia today. Listener Joe's joining us, and you've heard him on the live shows. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and we've talked on the Sunday night live shows before, correct?
Yes, I called you after my trip because you and Scotty G were worried about me losing a engagement ring on a water ride in Disney, or forgetting to bring it, or losing it on the plane. You were both very concerned about me losing this engagement ring.
Well, you know what? I think what it is, we both have younger daughters, so we've both been subjected to, years and years of Disney Channel TV shows where the dad is always the doofus, or the boyfriend's always the doofus, getting ready to propose. And you just see bad things happening on those shows constantly. So we're worried for you. We didn't lose anything either, but we're trying to help a brother out, right? We're trying to help you out.
You did. You were worried and you were trying to help me out. Scotty G kept coming back to it, that show that I emailed you and asked you a question about split stays. And he was very concerned about me losing that ring. And I thought it was kind of funny.
Well, I got to say, he did lose his wedding ring once, so he does not have his. Now that you say that, I didn't even think about it, but he has a replacement because he did. I think he lost it at Walt Disney World, to be honest. So I'll have to double check. We'll have to ask him on Sunday night show. But anyway, let's get into it because we got a lot to talk about today. But before we jump into this super special trip report, give me some background. Why are you a Disney fan? Why are you checking out Disney podcasts? Like, what's your backstory?
My Disney story starts way back in 1977, 78, when my grandparents took me for the very first time. I don't remember too much from the trip, of course, but I remember being on a monorail going through the Contemporary. I just remember going through a building on a monorail and I was in awe. And I remember telling my grandfather, I want to stay there. And of course, never did, could never afford it. And then my now fiance, our very first trip to Disney, she surprised me with a trip and we stayed at the Contemporary, and it was a dream come true. It was amazing. I've been to the Disney World several times since 2013. I've taken my kids before, and we just both love the Disney movies. We have Disney decorations all over the house. We buy Disney art. It's kind of a problem, really.
Well, I mean, you're speaking to an audience that will empower you today. You have a sympathetic ear.
Right. Hey, when you wipe down your savings account to buy Disney art to put on the walls, it gets kind of expensive.
Right. I hear you. Now, let me ask you this. I'm always curious because, we talk about our favorites quite often here on the show because we get listener questions, ask us, people ask us where to eat, what rides to do, make sure we do this, that. Of course, some of my favorites, like Olivia's a favorite restaurant, Space Mountain's my favorite ride. What about you? Pick out a few things at Walt Disney World, maybe favorite resort, maybe it is the Contemporary because of that sentimental value. But what are a few of your favorite things down there?
I love the Contemporary, of course, because I remember. But the other things that I remember from my grandparents when they took me back again when I was 13 was Tomorrowland. I love the People Mover and the Carousel of Progress, and a lot of people sleep on it, but I love the Carousel of Progress. My girlfriend and I, now fiance, love all the snacks. We go around just getting snacks and snacks and snacks. We went to Festival of Arts this year, and our whole goal was to buy art and go around Epcot eating snacks. So we just love the snacks down there, which is not good for the waistline. It's a lot like you. I do running to keep the weight down. So,
that's
but
right.
It's the snacks.
So, okay, right now, if Disney, somebody from Walt Disney World called and said, Joe, we're sending an Uber up to Virginia straight from Walt Disney. What snack is going to be there delivered by Uber Eats tonight?
There's two. One is the Mickey bar, which is so plain, but I think it's because that's where you eat it. You eat it in every park. You eat it all around the park. The Mickey bar is number one, which is odd. But the second one was in Festival of the Arts. We were really both impressed with the rose thing they had in Canada with the rose water. I'm like, we just wanted to try it, and when we ate it, it was amazing, and the rose hint of rose flavor in it was great, and it was a very big surprise of how good it was.
All right. Well, if Disney calls, now I know. You get the rose thing and you get the Mickey bar. I don't know if Mickey bars can make it all the way to Virginia, but we'll get a little dry ice and we'll take care of it. All right. So let's hop into the trip report. So your trip is from back in December, not too long ago, a few months back, and you had a specific goal, obviously, for this trip. So tell us about how you planned the trip before you got there. Like, what was the pre-trip about?
Well, as most people do, her and I talked about getting married, and I told her that I wasn't going to do a proposal in Disney World, and that was truthful. I was going to wait a little bit longer, wait for another location or another time, maybe when her daughter could go. And she's a little impatient, a lot impatient.
I know the feeling.
And she would drop hints all the time, and it just got to be annoying, actually. And she's sitting across the table now and looking at me.
Be careful.
So we went out, we looked at rings, and she has a Disney ring. She's got a Disney princess ring from Zales. I think it's a bell ring. So we looked at rings, and then I had to borrow some money because I didn't have all the money at one time this quick to buy the ring. So got the ring. The reason I'm wearing this orange shirt is because I had some shirts made. So I had shirts made.
Oh, very nice.
They were done, and hers.
Well, real quick,
hers says I said yes.
Okay, because say most people listen to the show and don't watch the videos. So your shirt has a Mickey head.
So my shirt says, mine's an orange shirt, and it says I asked, and
Yep.
hers is a teal shirt, and it said I said yes.
Nice, very nice.
So I had those made. I had an old roommate that worked at a print shop, and she made those for me. So I had those shoved in my luggage, actually shoved in shoes, in case she was see me pack or went in my luggage, she couldn't find them. So that's how I got everything planned. I started bugging her about what her favorite ride was, because she likes Little Mermaid. She loves the Little Mermaid. But a ride that she remembered when her grandmother took her to Disney World was It's a Small World. So I decided to do it on It's a Small World. She loves elephants, and in one of the rooms there's an elephant before you exit. So I knew exactly where I was doing it. I even went on Amazon and bought a ring box that had a LED light in it. So when you open it, the ring would light up and it would shine a light on it in case it was dark in there or whatever. So it was all prepared.
Okay, let me just jump in here. A couple things. I'm glad her favorite ride wasn't something like Expedition Everest, because that'd have been a little bit more of a challenge. And I'm just saying, like the LED light and this kind of does sound like a sitcom getting ready to happen. Like all these, like this is like the first before the first commercial. This is making me. I know it turns out fine. So you're sitting together. Okay, so you get all this preparation. Okay, so what about like getting down there and the logistics of traveling down there while you're trying to be, on a covert operation at the same time?
That wasn't too bad because the only things I had to hide was the ring itself and the shirt. So the shirts went in the shoe. The ring went. I can't remember where the ring went in my luggage. But it went in my carry-on. The shirts were in my check luggage. So that wasn't too bad. It wasn't a lot to hide. So it was pretty easy. She already knew we were going. I mean, she knew about the trip. She planned the trip actually. She just didn't know what was going to happen on the trip.
Best way. So you guys stayed at the Contemporary, right, for this trip? Is that right?
No, this particular trip, we did a split stay. We stayed at Caribbean Beach for a day because it was a day we were supposed to be going down early to be down there on December 4th. We wanted to do Keys of the Kingdom on December 5th, which is Walt Disney's birthday, also the end of Prohibition, and my grandmother's birthday. It's a great day in American history. And now the day I proposed. So there's 4 things that happened on December 5th. Anyways, because of COVID, they moved us from wherever hotel we were going to stay at. I don't remember. Art of Animation. Yeah, we were going to stay at Art of Animation in the Little Mermaid rooms. And so they moved us to Caribbean Beach for one day of our stay. And that's how the thing started. And we were kind of trying to figure out what to do with our luggage and everything, which is why I emailed you because we didn't know what to do with the luggage. That was something new for us dealing with that. And then we stayed, after that first night, we stayed at Coronado Springs, which was amazing. And you're right, Three Bridges is the greatest place to just sit and relax. The sangria flight they have there is great.
Yeah, when our travel agency went down for some training, I didn't get to go. I was super busy and had stuff going on, but they did what was called Sangria University at Three Bridges, where it was basically kind of like a mixology
I remember Pam's
class.
talking about that.
And I mean, that's what I'm saying. She still talks about it. That was like 4 or 5 months ago now. So that was definitely good. And I'm going down to Coronado myself next month. So I love that place. It's just, it's a deluxe, definitely a deluxe feel at a moderate resort. And Caribbean Beach, really nice too. I'll be there this summer. So I'm excited for that. So, all right, let's walk through the trip, though, because I want to make sure we get this all in with limited time. We got about 30 minutes to get the meat of this in. So walk us through. You guys get there. How do you kind of get in that Disney bubble, get moving?
Well, as soon as you see the Magical Express, that starts it for us, which is going to be sad when it goes away. But as soon as you see the podiums, the light blue podiums with Mickey on them lit up, I mean, that starts our vacation right there. So we get on the Magical Express, we get to our hotel, and we've been to Disney many times now. We figured out what to do with things. So we get to the hotel, and because we come from up north, we get there, we go to the bathroom in the hotel in the lobby, we change, we give all of our luggage, take our park bags out, give all of our luggage to Bell Services, and then we head to Disney Springs for the day. We found it easier to go to Disney Springs the day we get there on our travel day than try to jam in a park. It just does not make the park very enjoyable. And Disney Springs has still got that Disney vibe and that Disney touch. So you get to go there. So we went to Disney Springs, went to the Lego store, went to Emirates, got a dome cake. We eat so many snacks. We went to Jock Lindsay's, got a couple of drinks. The bartender there was great. He pointed everything out in the bar, the things from the movies, some stuff that's tied into Star Wars. We saw the top of the staff from the Staff of Ra from the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which was the first movie. That was neat to see that. I was like, I didn't expect to see like actual movie props in there. That was pretty good. Then we had dinner in Disney Springs. We ate at the Edison, and we had a great table right near the big stairwell drop that's in there, so we got to see the entire restaurant. That was really cool, and we were not really hungry, but we had made dinner reservations there. And then we left there. We went right across from Rainforest Cafe, and we got some bubble waffle for dessert with ice cream on it. Oh my God, we were so full.
But
I had to roll us out of Disney Springs.
Oh my gosh, it sounds so good. I want to travel with you guys.
all we do is we try to get as many attractions as possible, but we eat and we shop a lot.
But you know what? That's a great way to start your arrival day because you're not time constrained, right? You're not like, oh my gosh, I'm only spending 3 hours in a park and I paid an extra day for my tickets. There's no ticket involved. If you make it, you make it. If you don't, no big deal. But it is a good idea to go over there and, like you said, get your snack on, get a good meal. I've never been to Edison, and it's got, we heard a lot about it when it first opened, and it's got it seems kind of eclectic. I mean, what did you think? I mean, I don't know, like if it's on my radar is a Midwesterner, and I'm not really into, I don't know. What'd you think? I mean, was it kind of off the wall or was it semi-normal? What'd you think?
No, food was normal. My fiance got a tomato soup and grilled cheese, and they take a whole loaf of French bread and they slice the top of it off. They slice the bottom of it off. They slice it down the middle. They throw the top and the bottom away. I don't know where they put it. Then they put cheese on it, natural grilled cheese. And the tomato soup is more like a tomato bisque. And I don't like tomato soup, and I thought it was great. And the burger they have there is amazing.
Sounds good to me.
It was so good. We went back Valentine's Day weekend. We went back there again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll have to give it a shot because that's one of those places I need to try. I need to try there and Haleo. I'm really, want to check that out too at Disney. There's a lot of places. I haven't been to Maria and Enzo's either. So a lot to do. It's crazy. Again, of course, I got to go to Paradiso 37, which everybody says don't go. So I'm going. It's a glorified Applebee's according to everybody, but that's my jam. Anyway, so let's get into the trip. Okay. So you guys, Disney Springs first night, go over to Art of Animation. You stay there the first night, get up the next day. How's that go?
Well, it was at Caribbean Beach. We get up the next day, and we stayed, our room was right next to the Skyliner pole. So, normally if you're next to a pole, telephone pole or Skyliner pole, you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
But we looked out and we're like, oh my God, we can see the Skyliner. We can see the Skyliner pole is right outside of our window, which was neat. And it wasn't an obstruction for us. It was really, really great. So we get up that day. Of course, I'm a little nervous. I get the ring in my pocket. I make sure that the two shirts are in my park bag so she doesn't see them. I jam those in my park bag and we head to Magic Kingdom. And there's of course snacks we wanted to get. So we stopped off and got a Twice Upon a Cupcake on Ricky's recommendation. Of course we cut it open. We got the Instagram photo and then I took it apart to figure out how they did it. And that was really good. And of course, I'm sitting there thinking, all right, we got to move this along. I want to make sure that, we get this done. Of course, there's not many people in the parks. We go by the castle and we're taking pictures of the castle. And I know she's going to say yes, but I'm still extremely nervous that I have to do this. And we get over by, it's a small world, and there's a zero wait for Peter Pan.
Oh, man.
I'm like,
oh, you got to go Peter Pan.
We go on Peter Pan.
You're a Disney fan.
And, it's not only that, but Peter Pan is my favorite movie, and I love that ride. And we never been through the queue of Peter Pan. Always done Fast Pass. So I'm going through the queue and I'm taking pictures of the queue, and I'm just amazed at the queue. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. The interactive stuff wasn't on because of COVID, but we go through Peter Pan. Then we go over, walk across the way there, and we get on It's a Small World. We start going, and I'm talking to her. And we're going through the first couple of rooms, and we get to the room where the big elephant is on the wall across from us. And I tell her, I said, you keep talking about how you're not important and you want to feel like an important person. I said, does this make you feel important? And I opened the box up and I said, will you marry me? And of course, she was just sitting there crying and just kind of nodding her head. So I keep teasing her that she never actually said yes. She just kind of fumbled around a little bit. She put the ring on. And then all she wanted to do for the rest of the day was go around and take pictures of her hand out with the ring on with Disney stuff behind it. And we had Memory Maker. So all the time she was getting her pictures taken with Memory Maker, her hand was out and the cast members were going crazy over the ring because it was so bright and flashy because it's brand new. So it was and then my nerves were done after that. I was like, great, that's over with. I feel good now. And she was a little upset at that point because she couldn't remember the rest of the ride. She does not know what happened on the ride. She doesn't even know what I said. All she saw was a ring, and she nodded and just kind of bubbled a little bit.
Oh my God!
So we had to go back on the ride 2 days later.
I love it. First of all, when you said you had the shirts in your park bag for the day, I could see. Okay, so what I'm picturing is like security, right? Like rifling through your bag. They don't do that as much anymore, but I could. What's this? Oh, you just
Well,
ruined my day.
luckily, I listen to the podcast. I listen to your podcast. I'm up to date on your podcast, and I watch Disney Food Blog. So I knew that getting through security was a lot easier. They weren't going to go through my bag.
Yeah.
So like you, I carry a great big battery to charge my phone with. So I take the battery out and hold it in one hand. I have my water bottle in the other hand, and we go right through, no problem.
Yeah, because as soon as you kind of, if you would have like, kind of been like, hey, I'm trying to get something through here, like it's going to be a big surprise. Then you're like on the ground, like, hands up. Like that'd be me though, because I'd be like, hey man, I'm just trying to sneak something in here because I'm gonna, freeze. I can totally see
Sir,
it.
drop the shirt.
Exactly. I'd say the wrong thing. I'm glad it worked out. I mean, that's such a, and the thing is, here's why I think that's cool. And I always teased my wife that I said, because I'm a big sports fan. She goes along with it too. She likes sports. I said, I'm going to ask you at a Cardinals game, like on the big screen with like 45,000 people. And she goes, if you do that, I promise you, I will say no and embarrass you in front of 45,000 people because that is not me. So I learned. I was like, nope, we're not doing it that way.
Exactly. Just her and I. She didn't want a big to do with a bunch of people. She wanted it, just intimate with just her and I. So it worked out great. And I didn't want to do it in front of the castle because that's so cliche. In my mind, I wanted it a little different.
Yeah. And the cool thing is by doing it with a classic attraction too, is now you have that time to go back all that, that is your spot now. I'd rather do it in a classic attraction than something that, like a Buzz Lightyear, who knows? I could go away.
Oh yeah.
Gotta be smart about things. Yeah, I mean, classical. Okay,
think about anybody that did it on Stitch and now it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, poor people. They're like, oh, it was so romantic for 5 minutes. Anyway, okay, go ahead. What else happened?
So I forgot about the shirt. So we get off the ride and I tell her I didn't use the restroom, which is nothing odd because I go all the time because I drink so much water and other drinks. So we go over to the Tangled bathrooms and I go in there and I change my shirt. She still doesn't know anything about the shirts. And I walk out and there's a guy on his knee proposing to his girlfriend outside the Tangled bathrooms. And my girlfriend screaming, that just happened to me. That just happened to me. And she's showing him her ring and they're getting their stuff. And she looks at me and she goes, oh my God. And she starts crying again because of the shirt. And I hold up her shirt. So we had our shirts on the rest of the day, which people absolutely love. We got, congratulations all day long. The cast members thought it was just the greatest thing.
You know what happened? All the guys.
But I've never seen anybody get engaged in front of the restrooms there. But I guess maybe Tangled is her favorite movie. And they don't have an attraction, so there you go.
Is this romantic? I don't know. It's a toilet. But it's Tangled. I mean, it could go either way.
Right.
Here's the thing, though. What was happening is like any other guys that were like walking with girlfriends that totally didn't want to get married. They're like, man, this stuff is like spreading like wildfire. We got to get out of Fantasyland like ASAP. We're heading to Liberty Square. We're going on the Haunted Mansion. Let's go. They're grabbing their girlfriend like, get out. I can totally see it. All right.
Let's get on the ride with about dead people. Let's get off at all this stuff.
Let's get as far from romance as we can get. People are wearing shirts now. It's getting out of control. No, okay, so yeah, the shirts are awesome though. I mean, that's a great way to celebrate. Okay, so walk us through how things went after that.
We went and we found as many photo people as we could for the photo pass. It took a bunch of pictures. We went over to Be Our Guest restaurant. We didn't have a reservation there, but they let us walk over to the restaurant because we had our shirts on. We showed them the ring, that it was a bell ring. So we got a bunch of photos over there. We walked around the park. We went to Dumbo. She got pictures of her ring on Dumbo because she just loves Dumbo. There's a lot of stuff we love about Disney. We went over to Dumbo. Just walked around the park and kind of like in a euphoric type deal because we were just so happy she was happy that she was asked. I'm happy that it's over and we're both in our happy place, which is Disney. We saw a guy feeding ducks and there was a baby duck there. So we watched the ducks for a long time, just like Ricky did on her last trip. We sat there and watched the ducks for like 5-10 minutes.
I was like, what's the deal
and watched
with
the guy feed the ducks popcorn.
Exactly. That's exactly what Ricky said last week. I'm like, this is crazy. It's an epidemic.
We did that. We ate dinner at Tony's Town Square, and we bought a bottle of champagne. And they bought us a free dessert, which was really good. We got free dessert a lot by telling people that we had just gotten engaged, and everybody wanted to give us free dessert. It was pretty good. We watched all the projections on the castle. My fiance was a little upset that they didn't have the Frozen castle because she really wanted to see it. but the projections were great, and it's a lot easier to get photos of those than it was the Frozen Castle, the icicle lights on it. That did not photograph well with iPhones and things like that. I mean, you had to have a DSLR to get those kind of photos. We watched a couple of cast members do the janitor water art on the ground. So that was pretty neat. And that kind of wrapped up day one.
That's good. I mean, that's a heck of a way to start a trip, right? I mean, that's the goal of the entire trip, is to pull all this off, to have that memory forever. You have it, you had the, early in the day, enough time where you could celebrate at dinner, Tony's. You guys, I don't even know, but I'm picturing you guys splitting spaghetti, the noodle with two dogs. I don't know. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. We can all use our imagination. That's what podcasts are for. But yeah, it sounds like a great first day. Okay, so you're right. I mean, you're probably just walking around like euphoric, like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, hey, we're on Carousel Progress, hey, we're engaged, kind of thing. So you get through that, you get back to the hotel and the next day. So now you got the rest of the trip to kind of, still celebrate what happened the first day, but also now it's just like, hey man, let's have some fun. Let's go do our Disney, get it on. So what'd you guys do the rest of the trip?
So after that, we go again. We were at Caribbean Beach for the first night. So we go to Coronado Springs. We get there, we find our room. We get in our room, and I was expecting our luggage to be there. Again, pre-COVID, they would do that kind of thing. We had to call bell service to get our luggage up there. We walked around the resort for a little bit because it was really nice. Then we went to bed. The next day we get up, we walk around the resort some more, get some photos of the resort. We were going to Animal Kingdom that day. We wanted to get to Animal Kingdom pretty early because we wanted to get in line for Flight of Passage. We've ridden it before, but again, never been through the queue. So we wanted to go through the queue. We've never seen the big animatronic Avatar in the big thing of vat of fluids. It was pretty neat seeing all of those things. We also wanted to get on the safari early in the morning because the animals are out. Our last trip before this one, which was in 2019, we did a tour for taking care of the giants and for the elephants, and she got to see the elephants. Again, she loves elephants because she loves Dumbo. So we got to see the elephants and the giraffes, and we went through there. A lot of the things were closed. Of course, the shows are closed, and Animal Kingdom's got a lot of shows there. And Expedition Everest was closed most of the day. Oh, and when it came back online, the line, I think the wait was like 90 minutes. I'm like, no, we're not going to wait 90 minutes for that. So we had done the things we wanted to do there, and everything was getting really, really crowded. So we decided to go back to a resort early and go to Three Bridges and just relax. It's something we normally don't do at Disney, but we're learning through our trips now is to take some time and just sit down and relax. So when you get home for your vacation, you don't need a vacation. So we go to Three Bridges and we get the sangria flight. We find the sangria that we like out of the 4, and we order a pitcher of that and then another pitcher. We sat there for a while, watched the sun go down, had a little romantic time. It was really nice. That was very relaxing place to sit. Of course, the weather was amazing there, and we had come from up here in Virginia, and it was cold and nasty. And you get down there, and it's like, this is why people moved to Florida. Right. It was great. But watch the sunset, watch the lights on the fountains come on, watch the Christmas lights come on, the Grandisino Tower. It was just amazing. Finding the hidden Mickeys around the resort. We found a hidden Mickey in Three Bridges. All of the top piece that hold up the roof, there's one in there that's a Mickey. And I looked around, and it's the only one. All the rest are like ornate, but it's the only one that's a Mickey head. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, Coronado, if you haven't been there, it's even before the tower, I was a big fan, and I was not a fan, or I shouldn't say I wasn't a fan. I was scared to stay there forever because if you look at a resort, like a property-wide map, it looks like Coronado's kind of remote, because it's called an Animal Kingdom Lodge resort, so you think, oh, it's far removed, but actually the location is great because you're literally across the street from the studios, which is close to Epcot, and you're right down World Drive from Magic Kingdom, so the location, I think, is prime, and the amenities and just the beauty of the place, stunning. So I liked it. So I'm glad you did too. And I still haven't been to Three Bridges. I was going to go when I was there for Princess right before COVID hit. And it was one of those nights where I'd run the race that day, and I'm like, oh man, I'm still in like my athletic clothes. I'm not going to go down there because I was by myself. I'm like, I don't want to look like a bum, and I should have gone down because I was like, hey, you'd have been fine. But whatever. I'll go next time. Because
Yeah, they got big leather armchairs out there that you just kind of sink into, and it's just very, very relaxing.
It reminds me, I mean, the vibe of the place, because I did see it, is that it's almost like a geyser point on the water. Similar situation with open air and good food and drinks. All right, so walk us through some more stuff in case you guys go to the parks. And so you knocked out Animal Kingdom pretty quickly that day?
Yeah, so
pretty simple.
Yeah, we did. Again, because it was getting crowded. So the next day, we had Hollywood Studios on tap to go. And, Disney changed the hours of the park before we got there. They also changed how you did Rise of the Resistance to get your boarding group.
Right.
So we decided to get a ADR at Ale and Compass for breakfast, which was amazing with the chocolate waffles and the apple cinnamon French toast are, oh my God, so good. So we had an ADR there. So we took an Uber over to the boardwalk and went to Ale and Compass. That way we could walk to Hollywood Studios. So our reservation was at 7 and the boarding groups open at 7. So that we get seated about 5 minutes to 7 and we tell the waiter, bring us water and leave us alone for 10 minutes.
Yeah, seriously.
And the guy goes, you're getting boarding groups. We said, yes. Exactly. And he knew it. He knew what was going on. So we did all the tricks. One of us was on Wi-Fi. One of us was on cellular. And we're going through and I did not get nothing. And my fiance got boarding group 64. So we were excited that we get to go and Rise of the Resistance. But as Pam stated, if we didn't get it, it wasn't going to ruin our trip. It was just like a plus. So we were very excited. We got a boarding group. So we ate our breakfast. We get over to Hollywood Studios and we go straight for Mickey and Minnie's Railway because we think the line's going to be long. And the line was like 30 minutes. And it stayed between 20 and 40 minutes all day. We rode it 3 times. So we rode it the first time and we were just amazed. I mean, I really wish the Great Movie Ride was still there. I love the Great Movie Ride.
Same.
But Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was great. And I don't even like the new Mickey cartoons, but being in the cartoon was pretty neat. And I don't stay away from any spoilers at all. And watching the stuff on YouTube is not like being in that ride. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So we rode that and we went over to Toy Story Land and got on Slinky Dog. And then we went on, we were Slinky Dog. I think we went on the Flying the Saucer ride that's over there. We rode that. Alien Swirling Saucers. Then we made our way. They were on boarding group at this point. They were on boarding group like 30 or something. And so our boarding group was coming up pretty close. We went over to Galaxy's Edge. We walked around Galaxy's Edge and the boarding groups kind of slowed down. They kind of went to a cross. I don't know if the ride went down or something. So we went on Smuggler's Run.
Yeah, go ahead.
Smuggler's Run was great. And because of COVID, there's just 2 of us. So we both got to be pilots. We got to sit in the pilot seats and nobody else was in there with us. Nice. We had been on it before, but we were engineers and gunners. We had never been pilots. So that was neat flying that thing around. And as soon as we got off of Smuggler's Run, our boarding group was called. And then it started to pour down rain. So we got on our ponchos. We walked over, got inside, got our ponchos off. And it's the only time it rained the entire trip. So we were very lucky. And the queue for Rise of the Resistance is amazing. Going to that Rebel base and seeing all the props that are in there and all the items was just, for a Star Wars fan, it's amazing. It really starts to immerse you into the movie. And I know you like to stay away from the spoilers, so I won't get into any spoilers about the ride, but I don't stay away from spoilers again. So I had watched things about the ride and it did not do anything justice. Being in the big room that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
You're just in awe when you're in that room, and it's just such a huge space. It's like a gymnasium. It's so huge. So we rode that, and we both got off the ride, and we were like tingling. Like it was amazing. We just couldn't stop talking and yelling at each other about how great it was. I'm pretty sure a lot of people there, and people around us are going, "Oh my God, that was amazing!" And we were just in complete awe at how amazing that experience was. Because it's not in a ride, it's not an attraction. It's just an complete experience that we went on.
That's it.
We walked down.
Well, too, while you're in Galaxy's Edge, they're not ponchos; they're Jedi robes. Look at it that way. They're waterproof Jedi robes. We can say. I was going to ask you about the spoilers.
When we were there,
yeah. You know, that's good that it
They
didn't
weren't
ruin
brown
it.
though. Maybe I should get some brown ones.
Yeah, that's true. They should. I mean, they would sell them for $30. You know, like a $8 poncho. This is a Jedi robe waterproof cape. $30, please.
Mm-hmm.
Give them some ideas. All right,
and they would sell them.
Yes, they would,
because
absolutely.
you know people buy the $200 lightsaber. I have one from our last trip.
I don't know if you saw today.
Buys those stuff.
I don't know if you saw it today. The day of recording, they're now selling sporks in Galaxy's Edge, so you can buy your spork that people used to steal. They got smart. They're like, we'll sell them. So there you go.
I saw they were getting ready to do that, and they didn't have any when we were there. But I wanted to get one. Of course, like everybody does. I wanted to get one. I wanted to get my Galaxy's Edge spork.
Yeah.
This trip, we finally got the blue milk, and we would get it again, but it's not something you would seek out.
That's what I heard.
And we didn't even get the alcoholic version. We got the normal version, and we got a Ronto wrap. And I do not like coleslaw. So my fiance scraped coleslaw from part of it, and I ate it, and it was great. It was amazing.
Now,
you're right. The Ronto wrap is great.
But wait, you're in Virginia. Now, see, I was always told, because Virginia, I listen to some other podcasts. One of the podcasts I listen to, the guy is from Virginia. He considers himself from the South all the time because he's into like race cars and Waylon Jennings. He always talks about it. And the thing is,
we're below the Mason-Dixon line.
Okay, well, here's the deal, though. And my grandma was from Kentucky. Actually, the day of recording would have been Grandma's 100th birthday today. And she always, when she made pulled pork sandwiches, we had to have slaw on top. Like, that was just how it was. Like, in the South, you have slaw in your pulled pork sandwiches, so you don't do that. That's interesting. I'm all about slaw. I love slaw.
They do that here, too. I just don't like it. I'm not a big coleslaw fan, but they do that here, too. Okay, they put it on there.
All right, go ahead. I'm just checking.
We went down and we rode Tower of Terror, and we went on Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy for the first time, just because we had never been in there. And it's very much for kids, but it was also entertaining. I don't need to do it again, but I'm glad I did it once to see it. And we rode, again, Mickey and Minnie's another time after that. Then we decided to walk around the park because it started to get dusk, and take pictures of all the lights coming on, all the Christmas lights, which, you know, why we're there in Christmas, see all the Christmas lights. So we took all the lights that were coming on as dusk was hitting, took pictures of the tower with the projections. Then we went on Mickey and Minnie's again because the line was only 20 minutes. And this time I took a bunch of photographs in there because we'd been in there twice and experienced the ride. So now I feel like now I don't have to pay attention as much. I can get photographs. And the ride photographs pretty well. And there's a lot of hidden Mickeys in there that I found on my photos after I went back and looked at them. There's hidden Mickeys all throughout that ride on the inside and all the cartoon stuff, which was pretty neat. We saw a cavalcade on the way out. We saw Mickey and Minnie. Mickey was in the back of a Camaro going down the strip there. So that was pretty neat to see. And that was the end of that day. And we were pretty much wiped out. We did get the whoopie pie there. We tried the whoopie pie in the evening before we left. And something that is a tip for everybody, if you're going to Hollywood Studios, keep track of the time the restaurants close, because the restaurants closed. When we were there, all the restaurants closed well before the park closed. Right. So we had to get a hot dog. That's the only thing that was open was the hot dog. I think at Rosie's All-American. We tried to get into everywhere. Of course, we didn't have an ADR because the park was booked. And we tried to get one when our window opened up and could not get one. And we walked right past the commissary. And by the time we had walked back, it was closed. Everything was just closed. And it was 2 hours for the park was going to close. I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known. That's just something I didn't think about. Yeah. Who would think that the dinners would stop and the food would stop before the park would close?
Exactly, right? I mean, people are hungry when they're in theme parks. This happened to me like 5 years ago. I mean, this was well before COVID. We were there one night in like the same thing. Like, I think it was maybe even Extra Magic Hours. I've always said back when they had Extra Magic Hours, you know, before they cut those at night, the studios, you didn't want to be there for Extra Magic Hours because everybody's trying to ride the rides and there's just not many. When you don't have shows going on, that park got so crowded. And the thing was, there was no restaurants open. I remember I was starving and the only thing I could find was a turkey leg. Now, I mean, like, I know a turkey leg's kind of fun to eat, but like I wasn't in the mood for one, but I was that hungry. I was like, I look like Fred Flintstone walking down Sunset because I was starving. That was the only thing that I could find to eat that wasn't like candy. So, yeah, I feel your pain, man. We
that was us. The only thing we could find was the hot dog. And we're like, oh, this is not what we wanted. We did not want. Even Backlot Express was closed. And it was open when we walked by because we were going on the Mama Melrose and just trying to finagle our way in. And the lady goes, yeah, we told her we just got engaged. And she says, yeah, we're going to get you a table. And all of a sudden she comes back and goes, the manager said, we're too booked up. We're not going to be able to close. When the park closes, we can't get you in. So we walked back out, and that's when everything was closed. And I'm like, oh, I was so mad. I said, why didn't Mike tell me?
Give me how about that's just a plate of spaghetti. That's all we asked is a plate of spaghetti.
Oh.
Come on, mama.
So that's something for your listeners to know, that keep track of when the restaurants close, or you're going to end up with a chili dog.
That's a good tip.
In Disney.
Yeah, I mean, chili dog, not the worst thing, but could be worse. Okay, so
but not if you're not planning for it.
That's true. Well,
so the next day,
that's true. Go ahead.
The next day we went to Magic Kingdom, and we were going to get there early because we wanted to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and we hadn't done it yet that trip. And we're in line, and we get through security, and we get up to this train station, and all of a sudden we see the cast members drop the rope, and we looked at each other like, we're at rope drop. We had never ever been at rope drop before, and of course we're total Disney geeks, and we're just going crazy because we saw rope drop, and we almost forgot what we were trying to do because we saw rope drop.
It's like the green flag. Go.
Right. We're like, oh my God. We're just looking at each other. We just saw rope drop. So we get to Seven Dwarfs. And again, it's another ride that we had never seen the queue for. So we went through Seven Dwarfs. I took a picture of all the barrels with the names on them because we'd never been in there before. That was another neat thing to see. We got off at Seven Dwarfs, went back to Fantasyland to ride Peter Pan again. Because we love Peter Pan. We went on the Jingle Cruise because the Christmas time is changed over, and I don't like riding the Jingle or night. So we wanted to get there early, get in the daytime, because that thing seems to get pretty crowded at Christmas time because of the Christmas overlay.
Totally does.
And then we went through Adventureland, went over to Pirates of the Caribbean, and for a Scotty G restroom that she needs to check out. Over at Tortuga Tavern, it's closed, but the restroom is open. Much better than the one at the Imagination Pavilion that he gives high praise for. This one, nobody ever goes in there. It was great. It was clean. It was nice. It was quiet. You can sit and relax if you need to. So Scotty G needs to check that one out so he can give it an SG rating.
We'll have
I think I gave it like an SG 9.
Oh, be careful. We don't give out 9s too easily. I mean,
it was a 9. I was in there and nobody showed up. I walked out. There's nobody around. It was great.
Probably good because you had a chili dog the night before. So go ahead though. I don't want to say that. I shouldn't have said that.
Right.
I apologize if you're eating your Cheerios on a Monday morning. I am so sorry. I can't help myself. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
So we walked around. I took pictures of a bunch of palm trees, not knowing Scott was going to do a palm tree Instagram page. I sent him some pictures he's posted of the palm trees I take. And I don't take pictures of palm trees for palm trees. I take a bunch of pictures of just stuff because I think they look great as wallpapers on my phone. We saw a cavalcade go by. I took a bunch of pictures of the Rivers of America dry with no river. So just the moat of America, the dry moat of America. Took pictures of that, which was pretty neat to see them fixing all of that. Saw a bunch of cavalcades. Another thing that we did was ate at Sleepy Hollow. And we love the Nutella waffle. You've got to try the Nutella waffle. I know you said recently that you have never had it. It is amazing. We get those a couple times. Over by the Christmas sleigh outside the Christmas shop, across from there is a table, and it's in a little courtyard. And we never see anybody sit there. So that was our go-to. And it's a great place to catch a cavalcade because nobody gets in front of you. There's a little fence there. You can sit there and eat. You can have your drink. Cavalcade comes by. You sit back down, you eat. By the time the next one comes by, you're finishing your food. You can watch another cavalcade come by. So that's a great place to sit and watch the cavalcades.
I'm seeking that out.
And eat your Nutella waffles. It's great. We did that twice, two different days on that trip. We just sat there and ate our Nutella waffle.
Sounds good to me.
We went to the restaurant that's right down from Tomorrowland Terrace. That has the ice cream, but it's a restaurant. That's where we had an ADR there. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Oh, the Plaza.
Yes, the Plaza restaurant. So we ate there. I think I had the pulled pork or something, or maybe it was barbecue beef, but it was really good. And we asked them about dessert, and they have some huge chocolate cake. There were two ladies at a table near us that were eating it, and we were talking to them about it. Says, "You got to get it. It's amazing. Oh my God, it is so good." So the chocolate cake wedge, which is like a quarter of a chocolate cake at the Plaza, is amazing. The rest of the day, we didn't do too much. We walked around. I was hoping that the People Mover would be back open, but it wasn't. And for the first time ever, I was so tired from Rope Drop. The first time ever, I fell asleep on the Carousel of Progress, and I felt so bad. I had to get right back on it to go through it because I felt bad. I had tarnished it by falling asleep in there.
I have not fallen asleep in the Carousel of Progress in the last 10 years. I'm old. Like, I've never seen the end of PhilharMagic, Carousel of Progress, Spaceship Earth. I never did.
Oh, PhilharMagic keeps you awake with the water splashing on you and the smells coming at you. I don't know how you sleep in there.
I can sleep through a hurricane. No, and it's no disrespect. I'm out. It puts me out.
That's the way I felt. I felt like I disrespected the ride. I've disrespected Walt, so I had to get on it and go through it again. And I told my fiance, "Do not tell my oldest son I fell asleep." That's one of his nap spots. The Carousel of Progress, the Hall of Presidents, and the President de France. Those are his nap spots. He wants to go on those every time, not because he likes them, just because he can take a nap. Yeah. Like, that's not what they're for.
That's true. That was the universe of energy back in the day. That's what that was for. Whenever Mallory was tired. We're going to go on this 47-minute ride in air conditioning. And people,
I barely remember that ride.
I saw people, this was like adults, like would lay full out on those, because it was a big bench seat. It was like almost like a church pew. And I saw like full out adults just like thinking they're moving in for the night. They're just taking take a 45-minute nap here, like it's one of those Japanese like napping pods or something. I don't know. That's probably why they had to take it out. It was
those things are twice the size of the ones at the Great Movie Ride. Those were huge movers.
Oh man, they were crazy. Okay, so we only have about 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure we get the rest in. So now, you guys, you did Epcot too, so I want to make sure we get Epcot in because the festival is going on.
The next day we did Epcot, and this was the trip before the Festival of the Arts. So we were there during the holiday thing.
Festival, yeah.
So we went through Epcot. We saw a couple of the cavalcades. We went through one of my favorite rides at Epcot, which is Living with the Land.
Yes.
We went through that. We went back to that at that night to see the lights because we saw the sign for the lights, and I didn't even know they had Christmas lights in there. And the sand was lit up with lights on it. That was pretty neat. We had School Bread for the first time. That was really good. Another thing is, if you see the Disney cars either in Main Street in the Magic Kingdom or the one that goes around Epcot, the one that drives Mickey around, look at the tire tread of the tires. Disney has their own tires made. All the tire treads are little Mickeys in the treads. And I thought that was so neat. I tried to get a picture of it, but trying to get up to a moving vehicle to take a picture of the tire was not a smart idea, and I got yelled at.
I can see, like, you just lay on the ground in front of it like a speed bump, like have your camera ready. Just okay. No,
I was actually trying to go behind it and trying to follow it and get a photo as it's going by.
Come on,
and the cast member asked me to step back.
You're only half invested. If you're fully invested, you lay down in front like a protester or something. You're like, I want this Mickey to stop, please. I do not want you going all the way to France. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that would be good. But you get a picture.
We went around the World Showcase. We made our way back to Italy where the fountains are, took some photos in front of the fountain of her ring. We went to the fountain that's out by the lagoon, took photos by that fountain. There's nobody around. So we got a couple of pictures with our masks off by ourselves. And then when people started coming over there, we put our masks back on. We had a ADR at San Angel Inn. And you have to wait a long time to go in to get into the Mexico Pavilion unless you have an ADR. So if you tell the cast member you have the ADR, you go in the back way around the trees, and they let you right in. We were fairly early, so we just decided to wait in line with everybody else, not skip the line. We went in. They checked us in. We had enough time to get on the Grand Fiesta boat ride tour, which I love. I love all the older rides, the slow ones. We got a ride on that, and we went and we got our dinner, and that was our first time there. That dinner was really, really good. We were happy with that. I know there's mixed reviews about San Angel Inn, but we liked it a lot. So what was funny is we're leaving Epcot and we're walking to our bus, and we hear this group of people talking about how they just got engaged to be married. And it just so happened it was the same people that were outside of the Tangled bathrooms. And where else is going to happen? You're in Disney World. You saw these people like 3 days ago, and here they are again. So the two girls stopped to get their photos together, photos of their rings together. And it was pretty neat.
That's funny.
And then I think it was our last day after that, and we ended up going back to the Magic Kingdom. We rode Splash Mountain a couple of times. It was kind of chilly that day, so there wasn't a long line for it. So we rode it with no interruption, and then we rode it again. So I took pictures again and wanted to remember it, and then go in and take pictures. So we rode that. That was fun. We went on Haunted Mansion several times. That's one of my favorite rides in Magic Kingdom that I don't remember as being a kid. I just like it now. And that day we went back on It's a Small World because my fiance wanted to go on it and not be surprised at anything on there, so she could remember the ride. And then, well, I was a little tired. So we sat over by Sir Mickey's, and I did not know that there were vignettes or something in the windows there, whatever you call those. And there's like Huey, Dewey, and Louie in one of them. It was pretty neat to look in there and see that Disney has these little statues and stuff in there, and these things set up. I'd never noticed those before, so that was pretty neat to see.
Yeah, it's amazing because there's so much to see. Like you said, I love that you're always looking for the details, the hidden Mickeys, like you said. I mean, I had never heard that about the tire tracks and the cars. I mean, that kind of stuff. That's what kind of keeps you going back. 7th, 8th, 17th, 70th trip. That you can look for stuff like that and you really get a kick out of like, well, I've been here this many times and never even heard of that or seen that. So, man, it sounds like you guys had a really great trip. I mean, a good combination of theme parks, hotels, good dining, good snacking. What'd you think about that time of the year? I mean, regardless of you went down to get engaged and all that, early December, did that work out well for you?
It worked out well. The weather's really nice. You can wear long pants and t-shirts. Someday in the evenings, you got to put on a long sleeve shirt, but it's nice weather with the mask wearing you have to do now. It's nice. It's not too hot. Again, we just got back. We went for Valentine's Day weekend. It was a lot warmer then. I didn't pay attention to the weather forecast enough, and it got a little warm with long pants on there, and the mask got a little warm. But December was great. Just before that, we went in 2019. We went in Halloween. I like Halloween. This fall is my favorite time of year. I like the Halloween decorations, but my fiance likes Christmas time better, so we went Christmas time this time. The decorations are great to see, and as you know, you've got to see the parks at night. You got to see them in the daytime to see everything there, and then it just comes alive at night. And at Christmas time, all the lights coming on. It's a different world with the lights come on, and the projections on the castle are just amazing.
Absolutely. All right. So as we close this one out, let me just ask you one more question for anybody out there that is in a similar situation as you, thinking about this is the time to pop the question. I mean, of course, now we're past Valentine's Day, but hey, who says, Arbor Day isn't a romantic holiday in June? Who knows? Probably not. What advice would you give somebody? I mean, did you learn anything? Was there something that you're like, oh man, I didn't even think about doing that? Or was there something like that you would change up? What advice would you have for somebody that's going to do a trip like this? What would you tell them?
Be a Boy Scout, meaning plan for everything, which is why I bought a lighted thing. So I'm thinking if we're on this ride, let's just say the electricity goes out, or if the ride is darker than I remember, she won't be able to see. She's like, why are you holding this box up? Is that a cupcake? You don't even know what it is. So you got to plan for everything. And if you're going to be proposing to your significant other, think about what they like. My girlfriend, again, at the time, now my fiance, she wanted it to be private. She wanted it to be intimate. She didn't want a bunch of people around. She didn't care if her family was there. So we did it on a ride where it was just her and I. She likes the matching shirt thing. We do matching shirts in Disney a lot. So I made sure I planned for that. And you have to be secretive, very secretive, so they don't see anything. You have to plan on where you're going to put these shirts. If you don't normally carry a park bag, maybe you should wear the shirts under a shirt so they don't see them, because you don't want to all of a sudden bring a park bag and like, why do you have a park bag today? You never bring a park bag. But we always have that. So yeah, you got to be prepared for everything.
That's awesome. We didn't even, I know your fiance's listening as we're recording. Give her a shout out. I mean, hey, she's a Disney fan. Give her a shout out here.
Yeah, Lindsay, she's around here. Lindsay, you want to say hi?
Hi, Lindsay. Congratulations.
She's keeping the dogs quiet. That's
what
she's doing. She's gonna keep the dogs quiet.
Lindsay, I appreciate that because I'm always fighting the same battle here in the studio. So I get very, very key.
I appreciate her a lot. Lindsay plans our trips. Unfortunately, we learned about your travel agency and learned about you and your podcast well after we have an establishment with another person that we use. but she's always planning our Disney trips and getting everything set. Normally, I just pay for food and the flight, and she pays for everything else, which is pretty good. I went out. I went out pretty well on that one.
Well, that's my role, in the family too here. You know what? Like, they're just like, okay, book the flights, pay for the trip. Okay, now the girls, I'll say, okay, let's go where are we eating? And I'm like, okay, well, I guess here's where we're eating. So yeah, I get it, and I get to have my fun. They do too, so it all works out. But hey, Joe, I appreciate you taking the time coming on the show. This has been a great way to start the week, and we'll have to talk again because I know you guys are going to be going back here soon. So again, thanks for the time. And
I think we're going back December.
Hey, sounds good to me. Maybe we'll see you down there. But hey, congratulations to you guys.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks, everyone.
All right, don't forget today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out today over at themagicforless.com. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland. Hey, we're coming back at Disneyland April 30th. Of course, California residents only at first, but just the first step. Things are going to get back to normal. We've got Disney Cruise Line. Hopefully they'll start sailing soon. And of course, Adventures by Disney. So just drop by themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link. It's a free way to support the show. Helps us out quite a bit. Just click through beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a huge shout out to our patrons. You guys are allowing us to do 4 shows a week plus the live show with hashtag ScottyG every Sunday night. And you get Mike in the Midwest every Thursday, as well, a mini podcast just for our patrons. So if you'd like to get more information, check it out, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on the social media, Instagram and Twitter at beourguestmike. And of course, subscribe and like and all that stuff on Facebook and YouTube so you'll know every time we go live. And put it on the calendar. We want to see you this Sunday night. We want to talk to you. We open up the phone lines. We have a big family meeting. We talk Disney every Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We call it the BOGP Open Line, and we want to hear from you. All right, we're going to get out of here and let you get on with your work week. Thank you so much for starting your week with us here on the show. Thanks for always giving us the time. We sure appreciate that because I know there's a lot of shows out there. We're fans too. I listen to a ton of podcasts every week, but I appreciate it each and every time you take us along, whatever you're doing. It means a lot to us. So for Joe, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Monday. Time to head back to work. And we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.